Mischell Riley and welcome to The Joy of Sculpting. Today's subject matter is going to be a human head, and I like to use an oil-based clay, which is nice and soft, and I like to use it more than any other clay. There's so many different types of clay. This is a really good creamy smooth clay. You can see how you can just work it in your hands. It's been warmed up a little bit, but you want to warm it up because if you sculpt with it when it's cold, it cracks, and you don't want any of that. That's not any good. Okay, I'm going to show you a few techniques, and they're very similar to drawing. So this is a tool that I like to use, sculpting tool, and on the clay I'm going to show you how to do values like on paper. Usually push hard with a pencil. But when you sculpt, it's light play and how the light comes across your piece. So how do you make a dark black line? Well, you dig it deeper, thin line like that, and then you can do a gray line, which is a medium value, and then a soft line, which is a wider value. And you can barely see that, but that's in a nutshell how you get some values. Also, we're going to work with a technique with snakes, rolling tubes, which is basically taking a snake and you can roll it and apply it to your clay. And this can work for an eyeball, an eyebrow, or a muscle on a horse's leg. And what I'm going to do is go down on each side of it like this. And I dip my finger in water because oil and water doesn't mix. So it glides really smooth across there. And look how that does that, really smooth and simple. Now that we know simple basic techniques, we're going to work with basic shapes. Now today's subject matter is a human head. And basically that is a cylinder, circle, a ball of clay, or somewhat of an egg shape because the chin comes out here. So what I've done is I've got a ball of tin foil. Just get some regular household tin foil, and this helps to create the bone structure, as armature, for your clay. And that way when you work on your clay, you can set it on your armature and it doesn't push all the way through, and that's very frustrating. Take it from me, you don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is make a cylinder shape. I'm just going to look at my sculpture right here and look at this here with pretty much a neck on it. So we have a limited time on this show, so I'm just going to show you how we get to the first basic geometric shape, which is you take your warm clay, put it over your tin foil, and you begin to smooth it into the round ball, pretty much. And then once you get it really smooth, and then you do another flat cylinder shape for the neck. This is really rough because I'm going to show you in a minute. That's how you basically get your start. So what I've done to save us a little bit of time is create one already. And you can see that it's a cylinder, egg shape. Really basic. A circle with a little chin like an egg here. And then I've stuck a fat cylinder. You can see it's round down here. And that's how you basically start a human head shape. So we're going to get this out of the way. Oh! And we're going to stick that on there. And you can see that I've pre-drawn some lines on here. And that's just pretty much a guideline. I like to draw on the clay next to kind of guide where I'm going to put things, because sometimes I would start on my sculpture and I would make an eye they're too high or too low. So a basic technique is just halfway or slightly above halfway for the eyebrows from your circle. And I like to draw a line right down the middle to keep your proportions even, because sometimes you'll have the nose too far over here or something like that. And that's a common mistake. But if you just draw on your clay and make some simple guidelines, the nose is about halfway between the lips here, and it varies from face to face. They can say it's set in stone, it has to be this and this, but if you look at everybody's face, it's different. So this is just kind of a rough guideline. Also, I'm going to just mark in where there'd be some ears right here, and we have a chin line. I'm going to mark in some ears. Now the ears, you know, just think about if you were to put a pair of glasses on, where the glasses would slide. You know, you put them up to your face and they slide over the ears. So that's basically where your ear starts. It's right in this area. And just like real life, if you were to set some glasses on, what would that look like? And there we have basic start. So now we're going to put on some features, like some cheeks and nose and forehead. So we're going to come in a little closer and look at some of the shapes that I'm going to make. And I'm going to make something for the forehead, which is basically, you know, we want to round this out a little bit because it's a little flat. So I'm going to take a shape and smash it. Pretty much everything is cylinders and smashed. You can see that's real simple. Stick it right over the forehead right here. You can see how that creates value and shadow. And now we're just going to make a nose, which is basically a triangle shape. Like that. So we're going to get a piece of clay and make a teardrop shape, like a raindrop, and then just kind of make it flat on the end. You know, we can make it pretty rough. And we're just going to stick it on there. Look at that already, the shadows it's creating. Isn't that cool? I like it. This is fun. And then we're going to create some, you know, because it's still flat. A lot of students, when I have students, they make the face really, they're like a piece of paper. They do everything flat. So it's always, always good to remember to look at your piece in 3 dimensions. And always remember your face is rounded. You know, feel your own forehead and your cheeks and things like that. A lot of people, even myself when I first started, would make the face really flat until I figured out what I was doing. So take it from me, you don't want to do that. So we're going to create a round cheek area instead of just drawing the eyes on there. Give it a little shape here. You can see it's another, just a teardrop shape smashed. Here we go. I'll show you real quick how I did that. Just another teardrop shape like the nose, except we're just going to take it and smash it a little thinner. Stick it on there. And we already have cheeks. That's pretty cool. You can kind of see where we're going with this. Take some more clay. And the mouth area is see, that's really flat, and that's another common mistake. We have to make sure, because if you're touching your own mouth, it's rounded like this. You can bring your, you know, hand up to your mouth and feel that. It's not flat, it's rounded. So I'm going to round that a little bit by just taking a piece of clay and putting it on there and blending it right in this area. I mean, feel your own face. That's perfect reference on how that works. And then we're going to do the lips. Now if you're thinking, oh no, where do I put the lips? Draw on the clay, you know, and just make another mark, and you know, and you won't always get it right the first time. Let's say you accidentally go like that and you go, oh well, that's too low. Just dip your finger in water and just smooth it right up. So we're just going to roll 2 little tiny moon shaped snakes. I'm going to go make some lips here. This is so easy. It's just like a little puzzle. You just put it together. And you can kind of see the start that we have already. Now I'm going to create, you know, there's eye sockets. We won't get too technical. This other piece that I did took me a few more hours, but we have just a limited time on the show. I have DVDs where we can slow things way down and take our time and look at different things. And sometimes when you go to a class, you can spend hours and learn different techniques and ask all sorts of direct questions, which is, I think, great. My students love coming to classes. I've had students for 17 years keep coming back. We have a lot of fun. So I'm going to create that bone structure area right in here. And you can kind of see how the light play is already working here. I'm just going to stick an ear on there. And basically what that is a round circle and then just smashed like that. And we're just going to stick it on here like that. Oops, a little low. That's why you have the guidelines. And then blend it like that, so we got an ear going. Just for a guideline. We probably have the hair cover that up, but sometimes I like to just stick stuff up on there for a guide. We have another ear, do the same thing. Smash it. And put it on there. I just kind of blend it. And now we're going to go in and soften the face a little bit. So I'm going to dip my finger in water and just blend it. And what I'm doing is basically going into these nooks and pushing them down so they blend onto there, because they're just kind of stuck on there. So you can kind of watch as I do this. Dipping my finger in water, just riding the surface. Take my thumb. And sometimes if you're doing a smaller face, you can use a paintbrush with a little bit of paint thinner. And that way you don't get in there and accidentally smash some detail. It takes a little bit of skill. That's why I highly recommend, if you're going to do your first face, to do a little bit bigger piece that you can get in there and just kind of blend it. And just ride the surface. It's good to ride the surface. You can see how that's kind of coming together. We're going to push these on here. See how I bring that in? Scoop it, scoop it. And we can shape it a little more with the tool if we want to get in there with little detail. And if the lips are a little bit too big, we can just come in. And I like to